Dated the burial guidelines that were last issued in March 2020. The new set of guidelines is as promised last week to you and conforms to the current evidence that we have. These guidelines propose the following recommendations when it comes to burial rights. Going forward, families and communities will now be able to play a greater role in the burial of their loved ones who succumb to COVID-19. And in this regard, it will be no longer necessary for Ministry of Health teams to be dressed in full personal protective equipment to take over the burial ceremony while the relatives, friends, and families watch from a distance with limited participation. Number two, the families will from now henceforth take center stage in burial ceremonies, with the Ministry of Health officials only present to guide the process to ensure continued safety. Family members will be allowed to conduct safe burial rites according to their beliefs, according to their religion, to their cultural norms, and those of the deceased person. And so in this regard, we expect that families will identify members of the family who have no increased risk of COVID-19 outcomes. And these identified members are the ones who shall safely conduct the last rites and are recommended to utilize PPEs during the burial process. This means that if in your family you have someone who is diabetic, hypertensive, elderly, or a child, the Ministry of Health recommends that these individuals cannot participate in the role of being pallbearers, and families should instead find somebody who has no increased risk of infection of COVID-19. And it is important to remember that this disease is still within us and we must adhere to these protocols. During the burial process, it's expected that other safe rites will be followed by the family members as they mourn their loved ones in these unprecedented times. We continue to maintain restricted physical contact with the body, and also during the family rites to maintain social distancing, particularly at the grave sites. We also continue to appeal to our people to strictly adhere to other containment measures, including ensuring hand washing stations are available during funeral services, wearing of masks continues in all public spaces, including burial ceremonies, and maintaining of social and physical distancing. As we continue and with continued emerging evidence, we shall continue to update these protocols. Now, turning on to our COVID-19